The fans are continuing to stroll on in as they're all set to go in a few moments for the start of exciting action here from Lexington, Ohio at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Court. The top drivers in the quality Sim-Racing-dicate will be set to go for this tough circuit. It's 45 minutes of thrilling action from Mid-Ohio. Up next on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Prince, and welcome to round 2 of the Ashbury Motorsports Sports Car Challenge Series from the Buckeye State, Ohio. Along with me in the booth today is Bill Soup Zahn, who will be focusing on the MX-5s and SRFs, along with Sean Skippity-Doo-Dah Ambrose. Joe Peak will be behind the magic curtain for today's race, and will be using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Now, last week we've seen an exciting and amazing race to start off this series' history from start to finish at Spa-Francorchamps that included 2 passes made in the final turns for class victories in that one. Now, Sean, this is a track that's very difficult to pass compared to Spa. In your opinion, what should we expect from Mid-Ohio today?
You know, Justin, we can expect a lot. This place ranks among America's premier road race facilities, and, you know, it's located just outside the village of Lexington, Ohio. Opened it in 1962, and it's been refurbished a few times, but iRacing offers 3 legitimate road course race configurations, plus a rarely used clockwise and counterclockwise half-mile oval. Now, today we are on the full 2.2-mile, 13-corner layout. There's a nice blend of fast, medium, and slow-speed corners, one long straightaway, and several dynamic elevation changes. Now, the drivers will face the daunting Turn 1, a roller coaster series of S's known as Madness, and then conclude their lap with what seems like a 360-degree carousel that offers a plethora of racing lines. But the best way to get an idea what this place is really like is to jump on board for a GSRC lap around Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC MX-5, so let's do a lap around Mid-Ohio. Coming down to turn 1, it's going to be a fairly fast left-hander. The car should be able to handle that inside curb pretty well. Just make sure not to cut too far over it and get a slowdown penalty. The main thing is to get yourself a good run off the corner, because as we climb up the hill, you're heading towards the keyhole, which is a popular place to pass. From above, this looks like a simple 180-degree corner, but from inside the car, you can see it's got a tricky crest in the middle of it. Squaring off your exit will be the order of the day, not just because of the elevation change, but also because it leads onto the backstretch, where top end will be critical. It's not totally straight here, so you'll glide it through the kink and then bring the car off to the left to set up for China Beach. This is the place where you'll probably see the most passes made, but also the most cars off into the kitty litter with the way the track dips in the braking zone. However, it can be possible to defend from the outside. The track switches back as we head into Madness, so holding your own can allow you to fight back over this very blind left-hander. But we're not done yet, and the circuit switches into yet another right-hander before climbing into the S's. You won't see a lot of passes through here, but that doesn't mean some side-by-side action won't occur at some point. The real difficulty comes in the braking for the entry to Thunder Valley. It's curved with not a lot of runoff. Then this huge rise will make the car light right when you want to put the power down. It's not uncommon to see drivers go wide into the grass coming out of there. Now it's back uphill, and you want to hold as tight as you can to the Armco to the right. This gives you the widest arc you can get through 11, where the car will really want to plow off into the weeds. Before you know it, you've got to brake for the carousel. There's a bunch of different lines you can take through here, but my preference is like Amjad does. Shallow entry, drift wide, then cut back for a good exit. From there, keep your foot down around the final left-hander and come across the line to finish your lap around Mid-Ohio.
That was Amjad Yaman behind the wheel and Joe Peak on the mic with your GSRC lap guide in the Global Mazda MX-5. Now, guys, as we mentioned before, last week was an absolutely thrilling race to call for us for all 3 classes. So, Soup, how about you break down the points after last week's opener at Spa and what it's looking like heading into the second week of this brand new series?
Yeah, with only 1 round in the books right now, the water's just beginning to boil and we just put the pasta in, so we really don't quite know what this meal's going to look like, but we can get an idea of how things are cooking up to start off with. You know, in the Skippies, it's Enzo Canta, the Italian driver, up in front. We got quite a plethora there from around the globe. Luke Whidden, the Australian driver, in second. Now, maybe the fastest out of all of those is Fahim Antoniadis. He's in third right now. He had a little bit off pace last time we had at Spa. Look for him to be more competitive. Now, those guys are all here. Irvine and Manyekov are not. So the drivers tied for fourth are not going to show up today. But the top three are here. Let's go down, take a look next at the MX5 Driver Championship. Richard Lasper was able to nip his countrymate Sonny Kanchan. Kanchan had fuel issues. Now, Sonny's not back here today, at least so far, although qualifying could just start up. Some of these guys could pop in without us knowing and surprise us. Ursum is back, though. Jeroen Ursum happy to get his top 10. Always impressive. He got a podium last time out. The guy to keep an eye on is Gene Must-Finish Fittis. He signed up. I'm not sure if he's going to put in a qualifying time. The other drivers are not here, and that includes the UK driver of Grant and the German driver of Just. Let's finally go down to what probably is the most competitive and the most up in the air of all the series. That's the SRFs. Now, you see Jason Perry sitting on top, C-Love. Those guys are fast. Angelo Firiano, the Italian driver from New Jersey, sitting in third. Then you got fourth and fifth down there as well with Graham Bell and Seidel. The guy to watch for is the guy who's not on that list, and that would be David Kaspers. Look for him to be fast. He's our fastest qualifier so far. As the season goes on, we'll get a little bit of an idea of what's going on. But right now, it's early days. Justin?
Yeah, it is early days, and as you mentioned, Gaspers may be Casper the Ghost on that graphic for the standings, but that should change possibly after this race. After all, he is at the top of the practice boards right now, and for the top of the qualifying boards for his class. Now, of course, since this is the second race of the series' history, it's only fitting to remind everyone of what to expect for tonight. Isn't that right, Mr. Sean Ambrose?
Yes, sir. Let's look at it here real quick. Of course, welcome to round 2 here this evening in the QRS Sports Car Challenge Series. Now, we've got the Skip Barber, the Skippy, as we like to call it, the Spec Racer Ford, the SRF, and the MX-5, the global MX-5. They're made by Mazda. And we will go 45 minutes today in round 2, a little bit longer last week. The setups are open with restricted fuel. Now, we'll talk about the fuel in just a moment after we just go over these basic details and what percentages are involved with those. But when we talk about an open setup, well, we mean the drivers have worked really hard to tweak this setup for the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This is not the default iRacing setup, but might be for some of these guys, I don't know, but these teams have worked hard dialing these machines in today, and we'll see some great speed here. Now, fast repairs, guess what? You don't get any, folks. You got to run what you brought and take care of it for these 45 minutes. There is no incident cap, but as we discussed last week, and we'll talk about as we continue on with the championship here, the MPI bonus points become a big factor, and could find yourself in the contention for a championship or scraping the bottom of the barrel, guys.
Yeah, that's a lot of things to think about, that's for sure, especially at the start of this oncoming season, of course. But there are a couple things to also note as well with that system. There are 2 drivers with penalization warnings, and those are Kane Lasky and Cameron Gridley after investigations after the race from the IRT. So they both come in with 2 warning points. For that is a level 2 warning, of course, which has a voluntary pass-through, which if you decide to do that, you remove one of those warning points for that race if you do it within the first 10 laps. We will talk about that a little bit more as the race goes on, but there also has been a lot of clean drivers, including Rolf Just, Gerald Irvine, and Gary Woolbolt, who are the top 3 clean drivers. 2 of those, of course, were in Skippies, which could be one of the most eventful classes today.
Yeah, and those clean drivers, that's not only something that we just like to highlight just because we're proud of it, but the way that the point systems work, so they have a clean driver championship where they rank all the cars based on the incidents per miles. And the farther up the chart you are, the more bonus points you get. And a championship could be determined by how you not only how fast you are, but how clean you are. And that's one of the reasons that they can have that and get away without having the incident cap that so handcuffs the drivers. A lot of drivers hate those incident caps, right, Sean?
Yeah, they do, Bill. Hey, now, Justin, what do you think we talk about a little bit about pit management? Because, I talked about the fuel and the details, and what we know is each car has about enough fuel for just over 30 minutes of racing. For example, the MX-5 tank is limited to 35%, the Skippy 62%, the SRF tank limited to just 43% in fuel. So that one pit stop going to be very important. I think over this 45-minute race, tires aren't even going to be a factor when we get to that pit.
Yeah, I agree with you, but tires possibly not being a factor, and definitely not being a factor, I should say. When do you take it, in your opinion, though, for the pit stop for today, with this, of course, being a 45-minute race? Do you go right at the middle of the 45-minute mark, or do you run until it's empty with about 15 minutes to go in the race and go into the pits then?
I run her till she's empty.
Yeah, I think of a lot of it, Sean. I think of a lot of it depends on what type of driver you are. If you're a driver that's 2 or 3 tenths off the guy you're following, you take it when he takes it. You just stay on his coattails. On the other hand, if you're a driver that thinks I'm faster, if I could just shake these guys and I can't do it on the track, try to sneak in. I've seen a lot of guys. One guy that comes to mind is a guy named Errol Num, the Roland Estonian, really fast. What he'll do if he thinks he's being followed, he'll drop back to the back of the train. So he's the last car. Once everybody goes by, he pops in, does his stop, tries to run some hot laps by himself and see if he can lose the guys that way. And then, of course, traffic always plays a factor, and I think traffic is going to be a big factor here today.
I'm glad you brought that up, because this track is notorious for being very hard to pass. It is a 2.3-mile road course, of course. And this was something seen during practice as well, where for some drivers, for example, in the Skip Barbers, it took to get around the MX-5s about a lap and a half. So how do you deal with trying to be a faster car and getting around drivers like the Sonny Kenshins, who has just came and is starting his qualifying laps? Or essentially, how does that factor into your own class battles, guys?
Yeah, Sean, I think the good news is that these cars are pretty dang close to the same speed, so at least there's not going to have to go around cars 3 or 4 times. But on the other hand, Sean, sometimes lap traffic is hard to deal with when the speeds are so close.
Well, yeah, they are. And boy, I'll tell you what, a little bit more balance here this week between the Skippy and the Mazda. You're going to see that in the twisty bits here, especially when we get to the backside of the course, out of China Beach and into Madness and through the S's there, that MX-5 going to be very evenly matched with the Skippy and the SRF as well. So the passing opportunities won't happen there. And if you're trying to pass there, you're probably going to have trouble. And boy, you just don't want to get into trouble. It's 45 minutes, Soup. That will go away. That will go away in the blink of an eye once you get rolling here under the green flag.
You know what? Yeah. Pardon me there, as a blink of an eye. Sonny Kenshin second now in his class in qualifying, just to note that. That's how quick qualifying lap is there as well. The lap times, to note that as well, guys. 1 minute 34 seconds and 0.999 for Fahim Antonides as the top fastest time. The rest of the times are in the 135s to as low as 140, so a very quick clip. And these drivers, that's including a mix of different drivers. Skip Barbers mixed in with the MX-5s, mixed in with the Spec Racer Fords. So pretty balanced field, so to speak.
Yeah, it is. What's interesting about this series is they don't grid the cars by class. So, yeah, they're all stirred up. In fact, our fastest MX-5s, and I mentioned it before, watch out for this guy, Gene Fittis. Well, he's sitting 6th. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 Skippies behind him. And, then there's even the David Gasper, who is the fastest SRF. He's got a couple Skippies and about 3 MX-5s behind him. So this is great. I'm excited.
Yeah, and as you're seeing on your screen, that is zooming around, I should say, Trip Smith coming around to finish up some laps for him. As a lot of these drivers, of course, this is a 4-lap qualifying session, 15 minutes overall. Every driver has recorded a time as they are just about set to finish up for this qualifying session. And as you can see, Sonny Kenshin finishing up his laps, for example. Just a quick thought before we go to the grid. What's your main strategy? Do you go right to the front, or do you wait until the end to try and move through this field?
I don't know. I've never been fast enough to have a strategy. So I guess if I'm fast enough, I go. What about you, Sean?
You know what? I'm getting to the front of this field as quick as possible here. I want to blaze the trail for everyone to follow. And you know what? 45 minutes. This is a sprint race here at Mid Ohio. Don't mistake this for an endurance event today. They will be charging hard and for every single lap here. So yeah, I'm going to the front as quick as I can, or if I'm in front, I'm going to try and, if I'm Fahim Antonitis, I am going as far as I can.
And I agree with you there. Great discussion for this roundtable, but it's time to go from the real world to the virtual track. It's time for your starting grid. How about we go 10 at a time, folks? Because starting off in the pole, Fahim Antonitis starts alongside of Luke Whitten, and those times at about a 1 minute 34, 1 minute 35 second range. Enzo Kenta starts off in third spot with Kane Lasky alongside with him, followed by Michael S. Wright. Gene Fittis, we were talking about him. He's got a sixth place qualifying spot for this one in his MX-5. That's the fastest MX-5, followed by Gerard Irvine. In eighth spot, it's Sonny Kenshin. Catch him if you can, we'll have to see. Followed by Richard Losper in ninth, last week's winner for the MX-5 class. Rounding out the top 10 in the Skip Barber, Bob Mills.
Starting P11, it's going to be David Gaspers, Jason Perry right behind him in his SRF for 12th. Angelo Fiorino, 13th. 14th, Rolf Just. Joe McDonald will start 15th. 16th, going to go to Gary Wolbolt. Trip Smith, 17th. 18th, Tim Seidel. Jeroen Ursum, 19th. C. Love, 20th. And 21st, Jeffrey Gambrell.
Since I went over the points, some of those drivers that I said were not here did sneak in. It's our Sonny Kanchan, Ralph Just doing it, and the Skippy. How about those Skippies, the three big drivers that I talked about? Fahim Antonitis, Luke Whitten, and Enzo Kenta, all up front.
Yeah, top five really for the Skip Barbers out front right now, and in terms of qualifying times, I should say. So they got themselves some separation with those MX-5s behind them. But the pace car's off, the green flag's already out, and we're underway as Antonitis gets off to a great start and a big-time jump over Whitten, as he's going to go into the first corner, leading the way as they're already single file for most of the way down the front stretch, guys. Sean?
Yep. I'll take it. Let me do Fittis here. Fittis in the MX-5 racing 6th overall, first in class right now. Kanchan and Losper behind them. What's going on in the SRF, Sean?
Okay, well, we've got Jason Perry gets off to a clean break. Richard Losper just gets around him. Perry just getting overtaken by Gaspers, already battling in the SRFs.
Gaspers was fast last time at Spa. He was the class of the field, but he got into some trouble.
Yeah, he was having a little bit of difficulties here and there as we continue to zoom around this track for the first lap, that's for sure. David Gaspers, one of the main difficulties that he was having during practice, and a few drivers did, was that turn one section out of the front stretch, an area where you can really underdrive this car, but now it's leading to a lot of position swaps really throughout these chicanes, especially in the S's right now, guys, as this is a very tight course to go through.
Keep in mind that the classes are racing against each other. There's as much points for the winner of the SRFs as there are for the winner of the Skippies, even though the overall they may be mid-pack. David Gasper's looking to get a big score down there for those SRFs. Gene Fittis leading the MX-5s.
Yeah, Fahim Antonitis is leading the way still in the Skip Barbers. He's going to lead the first lap around, and he's got about a 0.3 of a second separation in his second spot. Looking to keep that lead as the top five in the overall standings is all Skip Barbers, as that battle is going to be something to watch for sure.
Kanta in third is really hungry. Watch him to make a move as they go into the keyhole. He's got the preferred position. He's on the inside. Can he keep it to a tight line? A little bit of bumping. He pushes Whitten back. Give the spot to Kanta with an Italian elbow.
And the Italian had a great run last week at Spa, and he's showing again why he had a great run. Up in second spot, able to break through the keyhole and get up into that second spot, possibly trying to set up with Antonitis once again. You can see Whitten trying to maybe poke his way, heading past China Beach and into the Madness section.
You can see at the back of the screen, look at that big, clumsy MX-5. Yeah, I said MX-5 and big, clumsy at the same time. It looks so out of place with those little Skippy. That is Gene Fittis back there, racing 6th overall.
All right, and you got Kanchan here sitting second in class, 7th overall. He got around Jared Irvine and his Skippy, and Irvine able to keep it close, and then just had a mistake. Car almost went off on course on him, got really, really loose, but Kanchan getting the separation with that Mazda over the Skippy here. So a total reversal of what we saw at times last week at Spa.
That interval, 2 seconds from Kanchan up to Fittis. Fittis trying to do his best right now. Look, Fittis has got up to the back of Michael Wright, and that's the Skippy. He's that, like you said, Sean, those MX-5s, darn competitive.
A lot of grunt in that machine.
Yeah, Gene Fittis, you were mentioning that. He is up in terms of lap times, around the exact same lap times, really, as the Skip Barbers, up in the top 5 in the overall grid, and for the Skip Barbers in general. So he's got a great pace, that's for sure, right now. Richard Losber, meanwhile, you meant in those MX-5s, he's trying to catch up in 3rd spot, having to work his way through a couple of those Skip Barbers.
That's David Gaspers, our leader in the SRF, right behind him. Gasper's got great pace right now also.
And the Skippy, this is fun. You got 3 classes. You got Bob Mills racing about, what would that be, about 7th in class in the Skippies. Then you got Losber trying to get up with his MX-5 buddies. And then the fastest SRF coming through there. 3 classes all racing together, all about the same pace.
Boy, Gasper's lighting them up through there. A lot of momentum in that SRF coming through there.
And that might help.
Go ahead.
That might help set up a comeback, help set up the closing in, I should say, of Jason Perry, as he's second in the Skip Barbers, about 1.8 seconds back, as he's right now trying to claw towards Gaspers and having a good run in that little Christmas sleigh of his machine right there.
It's a fun little car. Want to lick that sucker. It looks like a candy cane.
In the Christmas season, that's for sure. But for some drivers, I don't think they're going to be in the season spirit of giving away positions, as Gasper's trying to get a draft right now on Richard Losber, just up in the road in front of him. As you see, there's a Skip Barber right in front. That is Bob Mills, 9th overall in positions. And meanwhile, there's a car right off. That is right in front of them, driving through the cones. I believe, that is Bob Mills that just went off that course. Something that we were discussing before going on air, as we're going to check out the replay right here, guys, here on the GSRC replay.
Bob Mills racing with the sword of Damocles over his head there, and the horsehair got a little thin. He put the car off into the grass.
Yeah, those poor cones didn't deserve that.
And then when we come back live, maybe we can come back to Richard Losber, because he's being challenged by that SRF leader, Gasper, all over the back of him.
Yeah, that's going to be a challenge for sure to keep him in front, basically, because Gaspers is 2/10 faster in his Spec Racer Ford. And like mentioned at the pre-race, it is a tough place to pass, especially if you're trying to get through lap traffic. It could take possibly the next few laps, guys.
Sorry, I was going to make a mistake. Up in front, there is no new leader. Fahim Antonidas still racing ahead of Kanta and Whidden. How about a shout out to Kane Lasky? That's the 4th car in line there. Kane's racing. Talk about the sword of Damocles. He got penalized last time. He's okay, but if he picks up another one within the next 5 races, he'll have to serve a stop and go penalty. So careful there, Kane.
Yeah, something to watch for there, that he had a 2-point standard penalty. And under the rule book, a 6-1-A for punting for an incident in the bus stop and hitting the rear of Michael Wright in the first race. Still up in 4th spot and having a good race. And you can see the way he's trying to dig into the keyhole. He's trying to get a faster run in, but it's hurting his exit speed, as he's going to fall and possibly lose the draft a little bit heading towards China Beach.
Sean, you taking a look at 6th position there? Gene Fittis got a little company now. Oh, yeah. Here he comes.
Yeah, he does.
And Sonny Kenshin gets by and able to get the spot coming into China Beach, as they'll go right into madness. The California kid, Sonny Kenshin, and now leads in the MX-5s as he's going to approach the S's.
All right, got to get you. This California kid is Eric Garcia. Sonny is from Australia. That's okay.
Pardon me. I remember that from broadcasting with you with the Heinzenfeld MX5 World Tour, and for some reason, I thought of that mistake I made once before. I apologize to Sonny Kenshin, the Australian. Thank you.
Oh, he wishes he was from California. This is a place to be from.
Boy, Fitties was catching him there, and seems to have tailed off just a bit. Now Fitty's got to worry about Jared Irvine trying to make his way through. Looks to be Irvine picking him up just a little bit here. Fitty's, after losing the handle on it, is not recovering well here initially.
Yeah, about a second and a half slower. In fact, more than that as they run over a couple cones. Gene Fittis' pace has completely fallen off as he is losing ground, I should say, on Sonny Kenshin, as Jared Irvine in that Skip Barber separates him in third place. As we're going to go up to the front, Luke Whitten going for the battle for second now in the Skip Barbers, looking to slingshot his way around towards China Beach as he's on the inside line, cannot get the nose in as they'll go back in towards Madness. Will they be able to keep the calm in Madness? Yes, they will, as it stays 1, 2, 3 for them in that section. As it's still Antonitis, Kanta, Whitten in the top 3. Kane Lasky back onto the train in fourth spot. Michael S. Wright's 5 seconds back of the battle for the top 4.
Michael S. Wright, the nephew of Billy Bob Wright, who's familiar to many drivers here on GSRC. Billy Bob races in the MX5 World Tour and in the Lotus 49 series. You know what's going on up front, Sean? I think a lot of this is fuel right now from those skippies, and there's no real point to... What's the advantage of leading right now? Fahim's doing all the work, burning all the fuel. He's not going to go anywhere.
No, he's not, but I got to be honest, Enzo Canta looks like he really would like to get around him.
Sure does.
Try and pull it off here in turn 1. Got to run at him here, heading up the straightaway to the hairpin. The keyhole.
I mean, the defensive turn trying to block that keyhole, and the block is not going to work out as much, but Antonitis still hangs on the bottom side. Canta right by the back wing as they are close. Canta getting squeezed down, able to get underneath Antonitis as they'll go speeding down towards China Beach. In a great spot to take the lead, the Italian, as they continue to zoom towards China Beach. In the braking zone, Canta, better break in, better line in Madness, trying to poke in Antonitis. Antonitis almost gets contact, and that's going to lose him second spot as well. As Luke Whitten moves into second, and Antonitis is going to try and fight to get that second spot. Very close contact situation, especially in a Skip Barber. That could have been dangerous.
Well, those guys are smoking on the Hindenburg right now. This is not a good idea.
We're going to go on board of Antonitis in that battle, entering China Beach and Madness. As you see, trying to poke his way back underneath through Madness. Just did not have enough space. Almost got into the back left rear tire of Canta. Able to not hit that back wheel and still lost him the second spot as well. Luke Whitten now in second. And Kane Lasky, after all that, still in fourth. And it might be actually a little tiny bit of damage just picked up by our director, Joe Peak, as that might be a tiny tap possibly. Yeah, it is a big time tap, I should say, on the right front wing. And that is on the front of his car. That is from possibly hitting that left rear tire.
Wouldn't surprise me, but if there's ever a car that I wouldn't mind having aero damage on, is these skippies. Those front wings are almost as much cosmetic as they do. I don't know if they do much of anything. I've been pretty fast when I've had no wings on there.
And a good pickup by director Joe Peaks, noticing that from up above the skies. As Antonitis is still in third. As the top 6 now for the Skip Barbers. Canta, Whitten, Antonitis, Lasky, Wright, and Irvine. While Sonny Kenshin still leads in the MX-5s. Gene Fiddles is still falling off the pace in that battle. Back 1.8 seconds now, as he is having a hard time keeping up. Last time around 2/10 slower than our new leader, the Australian Sonny Kenshin.
Wasper third in class right now, continues to be pressured by David Gaspers. Then the other MX-5s are out there, top 5. Joe McDonald fourth. He's racing 16th overall. And then you got to go all the way back to Jeroen Ursum. Is he in the little My Little Jakey car? I think. Oh, it's My Little Pony. Took Jake Sperry off of there.
Oh, guys, up front.
18th overall. Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. Antonitis making a move here on Witten, heading into 1.
Once again, setting up for the pass, and Antonitis able to get it in through 1, but he's still going to have to try and fight to keep this position into the keyhole. Early break from Antonitis as he goes single file with Witten, going for the safety route for this tight bend for the keyhole as they'll go down the straightaway. Antonitis falls back to third, possibly might be able to set up the pass, though, if he can get enough speed heading towards China Beach.
Hard-hitting Luke Witten is not going to just let him have it here.
And Antonitis, yeah, boy, indeed, taking the high side. Witten really diving it in towards Madness as Antonitis almost possibly hit that right front wing area as he falls still into third spot. He's fighting for sure, trying to hold on to the bottom line through Madness, through turns 5 and 6.
Boys, you got to play well together here, or you're going to let Canada get away from y'all.
Yeah, and Canada's gotten away to about a 1.3 second lead because of all this battling and shifting around. This is exactly what he wants to see here in the early going for a race like this. And this is just in the first 15 minutes, guys.
You know, history, it said it never repeats itself, but it often rhymes. And this sounds a lot like what we saw last week at Spa, where I thought Antonitis was the fastest car, and he ended up finishing third because he picked up some damage, just had to try to play catch up the whole race. He's doing it again here.
Yeah, he is, and you can see hitting the dirt there, the car in front of him in Luke Witten, as they are definitely fighting hard to keep that position. Not wanting to give up these positions, that's for sure, especially in the early going, but still it's helping Enzo Canza out even more.
Antonitis is racing like a ferret thrown in a half-full bathtub, just scratching and crawling, looking for any way out right now. See what he can do as he gets up on the back of Witten. Oh my goodness, he almost clips him.
Almost clips him and having to go side by side, heading towards the China Beach. And you don't want to end up in China Beach at this track as they go towards Madness, into Madness. And still able to hold on to the better line is Witten. And Witten still holds on to second. Meanwhile, Bob Mills, he had a little bit of trouble. He is done for the day, as we're going to get that information about what happened to Bob Mills in his first race of the season. Just pulling into the pits, and in the end, I think just pulled into the garage area based on what I am seeing from our GSRC cameras.
Bob Mills' debut appearance in the series. We hope to see him back again next week.
Hey guys, let's talk about the Spec Racer Fords real quick. Check in on David Gaspers. You know what Gaspers is? He's got a good strategy going here. He's locked on basically to the draft of Richard Losper and hasn't let him go. Gaspers has been on point here with his line and his drive so far, and that's got him, almost 15 seconds. Or no, Jason Perry's behind him there in second, but just over 8 seconds between him and Jason Perry, and Rolf Justin between him. This is just playing into his hands here at Mid-Ohio today, and Gasper's good form here, and going to be really hard at this point. If he continues this strategy, going to be hard to catch.
Yeah, he has the pace. We've seen that in multiple different series, especially in the the Spec Racer Fords, just helping out him, basically, Richard Losberg, using him as the draft, as they're running about the exact same speeds with that. Gasper's just 1 mile per hour faster. I think he's possibly thinking, this is more to my advantage to use the slightly different class here, the MX-5s, to keep up with the maintained speeds and to try and help with separation, because Jason Perry, for comparison, he's behind a Skip Barber right now in Rolf Just, as you mentioned. So it's different speed-wise, and that is still a big-time gap as well with the 8 seconds.
Yeah, no, they're pulling away from Just, Soup.
Yeah, I wish we could spend more time covering those SRFs, but honestly, the only battles they're in are inter-class battles. between cars of different classes. Would that be inter-class battles or would that be ultra-class battles? I don't know what that means. Go ahead.
You're just saying there with the SRFs, Tim Seidel just had some trouble in the China, but right by the China Beach in Madness. He is rolling very slowly, in fact, as we're going to see the replay on your screen, the GSRC replay, as he was behind Jerome Ursum in the My Little Pony car. And you see just taking the corner way too quick, goes into the grass, swings it around, and he is still trying to get back going and finally able to get up to speed right now on the track, guys. So he lost a heck of a lot of track time. We're going to watch on board Trip Smith.
Yeah, you'll see Tripp's just going to miss him here.
I think is it Tripp or is it Ursum that does this?
No, it was Trip Smith there on the replay, yeah.
Trip Smith was the car behind him in that incident situation, able to get by very cleanly. Tim Seidel, he's now second to last on the track right now for the overall grid. You're looking at those SRFs as Enzo Cantas now at first, but Antonidas, I should say, as you're seeing on your screen, back up into second past Luke Whitten, just as we're showing those replays, able to get by once again.
Kane Lasky back there, saving fuel, lifting, having it his way. Look for him to be out in front when his pit stops are done.
And here's something as well to take note of. If you're looking in the backdrop of some of these shots, you see the similar damage now to Luke Whitten's right front wing. So that is near identical damage, in fact, I should say, for both of them. So that's something that can affect them for the rest of this race as well. And it was something, as you mentioned a few moments ago, guys, that happened at Spa as well for Antonidas' case, which led him to finish third in the class.
Sean, you almost wish that they would just score this as one big group of cars, because honestly, there's some good battling going on out there, but it's not between anybody per class.
And you know, one that I've been focused on actually was between Losper and Gaspers, and boy, Gaspers fought Losper pretty hard to get in front of him, and Losper took a little bit of an exception to it, kind of warned him and said, you know, you don't really need to race me here, but go at it. They did indeed, and finally Gaspers put in enough work to get around Losper, and Losper, to his credit, been able to keep him close since he got by, again playing off of Gasper's draft now. These two are, I gotta imagine, pretty much stuck together here until they get to the pit stop.
It's always fun to rough up the guy in charge of the pre-race meeting. That's what I say.
Oh man, okay.
The guy who runs the pre-race meeting, that guy's gonna get an elbow every once in a while.
Every once in a while, yes, but to mention the differences with speeds of the class, yes, they have similar speeds, but Gaspers, in that section to right up to China Beach, as we were seeing on your screen a few moments ago, he was 5 miles per hour into the entrance, so he's going to possibly start pulling away from Losper here after getting by there. As Sonny Kenshin, meanwhile, for the MX-5s, is still in the lead for his class by 5.5 seconds now, and just absolutely putting on a show because he is running a perfect pace, essentially. 136 times right now. Fittles, I should say, is still struggling to keep up, falling to the 137 flats.
Sonny happy where he is right now. He would love to see if he can win this whole thing, this overall race. I don't think he's going to be able to get up with those skippies. If you're a friend or family or a fan of David Gaspers, you know he had a bad result in his first round. Don't worry. He's doing well today.
Doing well today indeed, as we're seeing once again David Gasper still leading in your Spec Racer Fords. As meanwhile, the gap has started to spread out a bit once again still for those Skip Barbers. As mentioned, Kanta now up to a 2-second gap over Antonidas and Whitten. And Lasky still trying to keep up in 4th spot overall and 4th spot in the class. And we already have one car that's fallen a lap down. The first car lap down is a Spec Racer Ford, Jeffrey Grimble, who is in the 142s on the track, bringing the spotlight on him. So he's somebody that has not had the best day, but also somebody not having the best day. Love Soup.
Yeah, Sean, we saw this guy be really competitive at Spa. Boy, he's He's off pace here today. He's running fourth right now.
Yeah, Soupy, he's picked up a couple of spots, but unfortunately, they've really been nothing of consequence at this point. He's mired down there in fourth in class. He's got a lot of work in front of him to get to Angelo Fiorino. Just seems to not be hooked up with this combo here today at Mid-Ohio. I mean, his pace hasn't been horrible, but again, I think he just started a little bit too far back, Soup, and the field got away quick. And as we've seen here so far today, the gains, they've been marginal. The field very balanced here today with this setup. In fact, the front of the field is just now barely catching the back of this field. Only one car there, the Tim Seidel there at the back.
Let's go to 14th real quick. Let's go to 15th overall. We talked about Fiorino. Remember, he just got passed there by Joe McDonald. That was the MX-5 getting around Fiorino. Now let's go up to 5th, where there's actually a change for position.
Yeah, we're seeing that. That is with those Skip Barbers, Jared Irvine and Michael S. Wright, as you're seeing on your screen, guys, as these two slowly closing in, as we're going to show the replay of the pass, your GSRC replay. It all starts with the approach towards China Beach and into Madness. As you see, Irvine able to dive it into the turn and simply zooms on by, able to hold on to it on the outside, cutting towards the inside line, and holds on to the preferred line, exiting Madness and entering the S's. So that is how you get a top 5 now in the early going in a Skip Barber, guys.
Okay.
Well, here's what happened on that. Michael Wright had a slowdown penalty that cost him a lot of ground, and that's how Irvine was able to run him down.
Well, that's also probably a great way as well. Thank you very much for noting that. Richard Losper, though, I think Sean was about to get to that, is in the pits.
Yes, Richard Losper, the first of the MX-5s, the first of any car really to come down here. Although Trip Smith, actually, I take that back. Trip Smith was just back out on track about a half a lap ago. But Losper is in. He's in his box, getting his service now. So the first of the dominoes here falling, Soup, with 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think everybody's safely in their window right now.
Yeah, pardon me. Go ahead.
Give me a second. I want to go back to Jared Irvine real quick. We talked about him picking up that position on Michael Wright. That's not done and dusted, but I'll tell you what, Irvine's put in a heck of a drive, man. He was back there behind Kanch and had to work on that forever to get around him. And that really was the battle for him now. Playing with his own class here, he's able to get that move on Michael Wright. I wonder if Lasky if anybody up in front of him has any trouble, man, he's going to be there to pick it up. Irvine's been all over it.
Yeah, I think Wright might be a little bit faster, and I think he wants that back because I think he thinks he deserves to be racing in 5th right now. Meanwhile, Lasky's got to be careful. He's starting to lose touch with Whidden. I guess he's back in there now. In fact, let's go to Antonitis. Justin, He is really working on Kanta.
I was just getting to that right now because Kanta, we were talking about having about a 2-second lead. Well, that lead is just about gone. Down to 0.3 of a second as he is trying to hold on. And he's going to have to deal with Tim Seidel right now in lap traffic in the SRFs. As Antoinette is in second spot trying to close in. They're going to go on the inside of Seidel. Seidel moves as much as he can out of the way as they'll go into Madness. You do not want to have Madness right now in this kind of position battle. As Kanta goes towards the S's, holds onto the spot, and that is now a 3-car battle for the lead. And Kate Lasky, I think, is possibly in danger, big-time danger now, because of Tim Seidel being as kind of a wedge between that top 3 now.
Are literally shaped like a wedge, too. But yeah, Kane, that was not the strategy. You were supposed to hang on to the back of the fast guys. Now you've lost touch. This is not good.
And not good indeed, because he's already now back 1.9 seconds, already approaching 2 seconds back. And this is just because, in part, for being behind Spec Racer Ford for about half a lap, as he's going to be now 2 seconds back. And Kansas trying to separate himself out because Antonitis and Luke Whidden, they're trying to set up themselves up once again for an air position battle. As this is the closest battle on the track in this hot, intense action right here at Mid-Ohio. About less than 18 minutes to go as Antonitis Leads in second spot through the keyhole. Doesn't want to have the key of Whitten fit into that hole. As you can see, Whitten trying to get it winded up for the slingshot. As Trip Smith now right in front of them. That is a major speed difference that could be coming into play. And that's going to get Antonitis into the preferred line. Whitten cannot get enough space to dive it on in as they go towards the China Beach.
Gene Fittis has brought his Mazda down the pit lane. Soupy's in his box.
If all goes well, he should be able to get out in front of Ursum. Ursum right now just working through 13, crossing the start-finish line. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean Ursum. I want Losper is who I'm talking about. Losper going across the start-finish line right now.
Gene Fiddles, you were mentioning him, just exiting the pit road in towards the keyhole as Losper is about 7-8 seconds back of Fiddles.
Okay, I'm not going to correct you on that one. I will correct you on Eric Garcia being the California kid. You keep calling Gene Fiddles as much as you want. I like it.
Fittis, pardon me.
That's all right.
For some reason, when looking at screens, sometimes you can imagine Surrey L.
If his name was Fiddles and he flipped the car, it'd be Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh my goodness. Boy. Oh my. Okay. While Soup goes and sits in the doghouse, Enzo Canta is trying to keep the lead and not go into the doghouse with Soup. As Canta has to keep the lead, but it helps set up the battle with the block because Whitten and Antonitis, they're now side by side for second in the Skip Barbers. Antonitis able to hold on as Whitten's going to have to do the crossover. Canta and going for the defensive line and Antonitis has a ton of speed, coiling it up. A 5 miles per hour difference as Antonitis dives it in. Canta having to slide it in, going to lose the lead as Antonitis takes the lead into madness.
Boys, pit stops are coming. Is this really necessary right now? I guess it's a race to be first to pit lane.
Well, the first of our SRFs are in. David Gaspers is in, but what a move by Antonitis, displaying his feats of strength here today, Soup.
Yeah, the feats of strength and trying to hold on once again because, once again, the note, there is that front wing damage on him and Whitten. Canta does not have that same damage. And Canta was somebody that was a major driver to watch who ended up coming away with the victory on a last lap pass, possibly in a similar situation if you do not play your cards the right way, if you are the leader right now. As right now, Sonny Kenshin, with the pit stops going on, still leads in the Avex 5s. Jason Perry, he might be pitting soon as he leads in the SRFs. And right now, what we've seen throughout the entire race, I think, in my opinion, is something we're discussing a lot in this race today in turn one is the risk of understeering the car, which is getting tight through the corner, trying to overdrive it with the speed. And for Canta, I think that's been his worst corner for the race in the SRFs today, because he's losing a bit more time on Antonitis. I think that's how, in part, that lead whittled down while getting the much distance as he can as they work around Jerome Ursum in his My Little Pony machine.
Okay, guys, Sonny Kenshin is in. He is taking fuel now. All right, he is away. Here comes Fittis through the carousel. Coming down the front straightaway, goes across the start-finish line now.
Sonny Kenshin coming out of the pits, out of turn one now, and he is still in front of Fittis by about 1.8 seconds, give or take, 1.7, less maybe even within 3 seconds. As Kenshin, with the longest pit stop of the race so far, 15 seconds, possibly trying to make sure he doesn't run out of fuel. And of course, he had that ability to do so with the gap he had before the pit stop cycles.
If you remember right at Spa, he short-filled and he had to nurse it all the way. That cost him the win. Doesn't want that to happen now. Has the cushion. He has plenty of time to take all the petrol he needs.
Yeah, and I think, you just said it there, win being the key for Kenshin. He wants to walk away from them, from this one today with a win, and he set himself up well to do that now.
Yes, he has, as Fittis is still in second. Joe McDonald in third spot now in the class, but McDonald, he still has to bring it on in for fuel. As we're approaching 12 minutes to go in this race, everyone trying to set themselves up all the Skip Barbers, pardon me, are still needing to pit as there's another battle for the lead on your screen now. Kanta moving on to the outside of Antonides and trying to keep the position. Antonides having to mash on the brakes so he didn't hit the right rear tire, and he's going to get a little bit loose there, falls into second spot. These guys aren't worried about pit stops. They're worried about who's leading before entering that pit lane at this point right now, as mentioned.
That is the best action on the track, is the guys who are racing for that overall lead. How about Jason Perry? Here's a guy hoping for rain right now.
Yeah.
He's leading in the SRFs. He still needs a stop to happen, but
He does, Soup, and unfortunately, with the pit delta there on the SRF, I think he's got trouble. He's got Fiorino. Fiorino still needs to stop, but Gaspers is going to be there behind him, and I think Gaspers will take that spot back.
he's got about 15 seconds on Gaspers. I think it's going to take a remarkable pit stop for Perry to get in and out.
Yeah.
He's hoping that Martians attack Mid-Ohio.
Well, speaking of Perry, getting by him right there in his Mazda, Sonny Canchin, getting things back up and rolling here after that pit stop about a lap and a half ago.
Class leaders racing each other right now.
Yes, indeed. That's right. For
Yes,
a little while longer.
But a while longer, as just to mention with those SRFs, C-Love did bring it in, so possibly approaching that window to have to bring it in. Also in that window, still the Skip Barbers, because Antonides, once again, battling for the lead with Kanta, and they almost go tire to tire as they go charging into the China Beach corner. They'll enter the madness, trying to hold on to their madness, hold on to their sanities, as Antonides keeps the lead, almost getting to the back as Kanta. Kanta lets off just in time, and Antonides leads once again here at Mid-Ohio.
Soup,
Yeah?
Luke Witten's going to win this race.
Okay. That is definitely a bold predict, but I think you have something on there because you have to make sure you get to the finish line to win a race. So if they get into contact, he's in the Catbergen popcorn seat, munching on some extra buttery popcorn, I think, taking a joke out of Bill Soup Zahn's book.
I'm not so sure if Kane Lasky's not in the best position the way those front three guys are going. Let's hope they actually have to make a pit stop. I really didn't make a full fuel run. I was told that a stop was mandatory, but we're getting darn close, Sean.
Yeah, here's something. Pardon me, Sean.
They got to stop.
All right.
Yeah, here's the example of that, because I was just getting to that before I almost cut off Sean by accident. Gary Woolbolt was the first Skip Barber to bring in a 22-second stop, mind you, as he's currently last in his class, 14th overall, someone we haven't talked about much all day, but he's still in a decent position to finish 8th in the class for the Skip Barbers.
I don't think these guys are going to be taking a 22-second stop. They need to come in and get just enough fuel to go 9 minutes of racing.
Yeah, because Kanta, he's trying to get the lead once again as they approach the madness. Antonides almost swings it around as they are going side by side through the corner. Antonides gets very loose, and he's going to drop back possibly to third. No, Whitten lets him get back into line, and Kanta getting some good luck once again. A 0.7 of a second lead because of that slip up in turn 5. We're going to go from the nice blimp, the GSRC blimp, as it floats above this action-packed race. You see here setting up for the pass, Kanta on the outside, making sure he hangs onto the line. Antonides having to hold on in the preferred line, but overdrove the car, got loose, almost lost him 2 spots in 1 corner. And just as we finish up with the blimp, guess who's in the pits? Enzo Kanta, guys.
This one's going to be fast.
It's going to have to be fast, as some more cars coming out of the pits as Joe McDonald goes out in front of him. And this is, I think, if you're still on the track, you have to go. He overran his stop by a few steps, and he's going to have to back up. That'll lose him about 2 seconds on pit road. And it's a 9-second stop, including the having to back up, Soup, an 11-second stop. So is it enough, do you think?
30 seconds cone to cone. I liked it. I didn't think he was hurt that much. We'll see how all he's got to do is be within a second. He should be under the draft. 2 seconds back, Kane Lasky.
Kane Lasky in a decent spot still. Fahim Antonitis leads the way now in the Skip Barbers as the pit cycle for them heats up. In third, behind Luke Whitten, Kane Lasky, Gerard Irvine in fourth, followed by Michael S. Wright. And so Kanta, the first car on the track who has made his pit stops, Rolf Just. He's trying to get a quick pit stop himself, and look at that, Jason Perry's also in.
Now when it rains, it pours.
And there goes Gasper going by, picking up the lead.
And Perry just pulling out an 11-second stop, and that is going to be a big-time gap.
Antonitis in.
Antonitis, we'll see if it's about a comparable stop, and not remember the time, a 9.1 with the cone-to-cone, 30 seconds.
Kanta out of the chute, coming to the carousel now.
Enzo's got to hurry.
And Antonitis having the advantage of that first pit stall. Luke Whitten zooms on by. Jared Irvine, Kane Lasky, Enzo Kanta. He's approaching fast.
Antonitis is rolling.
And here we go, folks, as Antonitis, he comes out of the pits right in front of Kanta, an exact time of 9.1 seconds. That is the difference between slightly overrunning your stall and having to back up and hitting your marks exactly, because it's now a 1.4 second lead for Antonitis because of pit cycles.
Just under 6 minutes of racing to go.
Yeah, and, Whitten, Lasky, Irvine, all still needing that stop.
Kane Lasky needs to talk to Joe McDonald in the MX-5 and make a deal. Say, look, if you push me around, I'm going to run out of fuel. I'll split the prize money with you.
Boy, they are so close. I really wonder how much fuel they've got left. Lasky's limping around right now. I got to be honest with you, he's not driving that car hard at all.
Yeah, possibly in fuel conservation mode as Whitten brings it on in.
And so does Lasky right behind him.
A tank emptier than a syrup bottle after a pancake social.
I think Lasky might have been running out there, honestly, back out of Thunder Valley. I think he might have started to chug.
Antonitis just going through the carousel now. He's crossing the start-finish line. Whitten's got to hurry. Whitten's rolling.
And so is Lasky, as both of them heading out of turn one. Antonitis trying to dive in, and he's going to try and get by Lasky, and will get by Lasky, but Luke Whitten with the fastest stop by far with a 7.8 second stop moves into first place. Kane Lasky, pardon me, was first on the times with a 7.3 second, but being farther behind by 2.4 seconds still shuffles him in front of Enzo Kanta.
Man, Whitten nailed that pit stop suit.
Yeah, but keep in mind, the guy we've been watching, Lasky was out of the picture. He was well back and forth right now. Now he's on the back of really fast Antonitis. In fact, he's going to make a move on Fahim. No need to do that. In fact, Kane, where are you going?
And Lasky, something going on with Lasky because he has slowed down mightily, and he is, I think something's going on with his car because he is struggling to go around, stumbling around at 59 miles per hour. So something is amiss with Kane Lasky's machine.
Maybe he forgot to actually put fuel in.
Is that a possibility, though? Do you click off the tires with still 7.3 seconds in the stall? It's exactly that. I think he might be out of fuel. You see it wiggling around, trying to get the tank to keep on going. And an absolutely fatal mistake in this race for Kane Lasky. My goodness.
They might have put the diesel hose in. That could be it.
You think that's it, Soup, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep,
it had to be fuel.
Yeah, it had to have been fuel, and it's going to lose him a heck of a lot of time. Absolutely big-time mistake, as that takes him out of this battle for the win for his class.
And you know what? Antonitis is not safe here. Kanta all over him, coming out of the keyhole here. This is going to set up real well and get to the speed trap. We got a problem here.
They need to dance. They need to make this work smooth. They need to get that leapfrog done, and so maybe they can run down Widden is 2.5 seconds up.
Yeah, that's a big time gap to try and overcome. You've seen Enzo Canta. You've seen right there the leapfrog. Can the leapfrog work? But there is 2 lap skip barbers right in front of them. Antonai has almost gone into the collision as you're seeing on your screen the rest of those battles. That includes Jared Irvine in 4th spot in the class. And Lasky is now still in 5th spot for the class as he made the jump on that after the mistake. And Enzo Canta almost made a mistake himself running through the grass as they pass by the rest of the lap traffic.
Guys, Lasky getting by Irvine here on the straight into China Beach. Lasky going strong, takes that position away.
It's a nice 3-car battle there. Lasky, Irvine, and Wright.
Trying to recover there from the mistake for Lasky, trying to get as high as a position as he can. They're still 36 seconds behind as that battle is for a top 5.
Michael Wright taking a look there at Irvine. Almost got in a little too deep on him. Almost sounds like a law firm, doesn't it, suit? Lasky, Irvine, and Wright.
Yeah,
we gotta get together on that.
That'd be an interesting law firm. What do you cover if you're that kind of law firm? iRacing disputes or something along those lines?
Yeah, auto accidents.
Auto accidents.
Yeah.
Just as we're approaching less than a minute to go, of note, in the MX-5, Sonny Kenshin still leads the way by 4.8 seconds. And that Gene Fidos is still in 2nd spot. Richard Losper in 3rd.
Oh, Gasper just gave a punt to Losper.
That's not the first time those two have exchanged a little angst with each other.
I know this race is about over, but this is like 2 people who are married to their own individual spouses out on a date. It's, they make a nice couple, but it's not really much going to happen here.
And that is going to be probably a warning point, as that with David Gaspers in the final 30 seconds, maybe not the best time to have a marriage dispute, as David Gaspers, by the way, still leads in the SRFs as we're approaching the white flag, coming out with 3 seconds on the clock. And take a look at this coming down the front straightaway. Is it the white flag? I believe so, yes, as Luke Whitten leads the way by 1.5 seconds over Enzo Canta. Fahim Antonitis is in 3rd.
All right. This is what I get paid to do. Put a little drama in here. Whitten stopped 7.7 seconds. Canta stopped 9 seconds in the box. Did Whitten take enough fuel?
We're going to find out, guys, because this is going to be something that comes up, because this is still a 1.5 second lead. Will he have enough to get to the finish line and keep that distance if he runs out? Enzo Canta still in 2nd. Antonitis trying to move into 3rd. And here comes Antonitis on the left side, approaching the speed trap. He's not going to let up as Canta's on the inside line. Antonitis on the outside, on the left side. And they get contact. Canta gets in the back. Antonitis gets in the back as Antonitis will lose a lot of time. Canta squeezing them down, not giving enough space, and not wanting to give up that 2nd spot as Enzo Canta seals up 2nd. Luke Whitten now 1.8 seconds ahead because of that contact, as Luke Whitten, with all the space in the world, comes around, heads towards the carousel. All he has to do is make sure he comes out cleanly as he zooms around, approaching turns 12, heading towards the final circuits. He'll pass by the pit entry, come around the final turn, and like that, Luke Whitten wins at Mid-Ohio in the Skip Barbers.
Our next class leader looks like it's going to be Sonny Kenshin working through madness right now.
He is. And, this last lap for Kenshin's been strange. Off course several times, driving through the grass. Not really sure what was going on with that. Now he's got things back under control. It's not like he was out of control. He was doing it purposely. So I'm not sure exactly what was going on there, Suit. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to him and ask him. But Kenshin coming around now, making his way into the carousel here and looking to take the win in the Mazda MX-5s. David Gaspers, Gaspers not too far behind us. Here we go, Sonny coming across now, and he is going to pick up this win today, crawling across the line there at the end. And congratulations to Sonny Kenshin.
Yes, Sonny Kenshin, a great run for him. David Gaspers still leading in his class as he's now going through the carousel, guys. Passes by the pit exit as Gaspers zooms on by. He'll pass by the start and finish line and come away with his first victory of the season.
Perry and Fiorino going to go second and third in that class. Looks like it's going to be Fittis and Loss for 2 and 3 in the MX-5s.
And an exciting finish, especially in those Skip Barbers today. As we'll now take a breather, everyone will go possibly maybe check out with that new law firm for iRacing disputes and car incidents, as we're going to take a quick commercial break here on GSRC. You're watching the Asbury Motorsports Sports Car Challenge Series on the Global Sim Racing Channel. And welcome back after an exciting race here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, as it was an exciting round 2 for this event, as we're going to take a look at your results, starting with the Skip Barber class. Luke Wooden came away with a victory for today after starting second on qualifying. Well, Enzo Canta finished off in second after an exciting race for that second spot with Raheem Antonitis, who came away third in the class. Kane Lasky finished off fourth and was able to rebound from a pit road mistake involving fuel and moved his way into fourth after coming back out behind Jared Irvine, who finished off the top 5. Michael S. Wright finished 6th. Rolf Just in 7th and last in the class. Gary Woolbolt. Guys.
All right, there we go. So we'll leave off at Gary Woolbolt. Boy, Jason Perry next. Okay, there we go. Jason Perry in 11th. Joe McDonald going to finish 12th today in his MX-5, 3rd overall. Richard Losper, 4th overall in the MX-5s, will finish 13th. 14th, Gary Woolbolt. There we go. And Jeroen Ursum, their 5th overall in his MX-5. 5th in his class, 15th overall. I totally lost this, guys.
Want me to help out?
No, I've got it now. Trip Smith going to finish 17th overall, 6th in class. Sue, get me out of this.
All right, I got it. Here's the guys that warm the cockles and the adjacent giblets of my heart because they're down at the bottom of the order somewhere I am very familiar with. C. Love in 18th. Tim Seidel in 19th overall. Jeffrey Gambrell. Those 3 guys come home 4th, 5th, and 6th in the SRF class. Then the last guy out there, Cowboy Bob Mills, 21st position.
Entertaining race for sure, as we're going to now talk to our first driver, as Luke Whitten, he mentioned just now he wants on his Christmas list under the Christmas tree a microphone. So we're going to talk to our second place driver, and Enzo Canta, guys. Let's grab him on in. Enzo, welcome to the broadcast booth. Sit on this nice suede couch, my friend.
Hi guys.
How are you feeling after coming away in what was basically a crazy last lap for the second spot?
It was not only a crazy last lap, but a crazy race because I completely missed the qualifying because I thought it were only 2 laps, so I stopped and pressed escape after the second lap. Then I discovered that there was other 2 laps, but I had to start again with 7.9 liters of fuel and cold engine and tires, so no chance for me to gain a best position. But I was confident I could have a better pace than Luke and Fahim, so it was I was right, and I was managing to try and undercut to pass them the final for the final time in the pit, but I missed the braking in the pits. I braked too forward, and that stupid man could do a step behind to serve me, but he can't. So I had to put the reverse gear, and I lost I think about 3 or 4 seconds there. So I had to pass again Fahim. I think he had the front wing a little bit damaged, so he could lose a bit of speed on straight. So it was not so difficult for me to catch him. I tried to catch Luke too, but I did a mistake in the penultimate lap, so I lost there my last chances to win the race. But congrats to Luke because he did a very good strategy.
And that strategy ended up getting him the win, but you still came away with second in this one. Congratulations on the second place victory, and thank you very much for coming up to the broadcast booth.
Thank you for the interview as always, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was Enzo Canta coming away second in the Skip Barbers for today's race. And before we get to our next interview, why don't we discuss what your final thoughts are after this event, guys? What are your thoughts after seeing the action that happened across this track today on this 2.3-mile road course?
Sean, go ahead, Sean.
You know what? I was going to blast it out here real quick. I thought what we saw today is these 3 classes on the right track, the right combination, are a little bit more evenly matched than we originally gave this credit for. Spa didn't really give us a true indication of how competitive and how close this can be. Mid-Ohio kind of balanced things out a little bit today.
One thing I was thinking about, and I like the concept of this, and these cars are so evenly paced that it might be interesting to see if they scored like the SRFs based on their overall finishing position, where it might make that battle between Gaspers and Losper mean a little bit more. If Gaspers was able to get around him, he'd pick up a little more cushion between him and Jason Perry. There's something to think about. I know these guys are pretty sharp. Some great racing going on, but a lot of it was between classes that really didn't matter. Nice to see a good turnout, though.
A nice turnout of about 21 people, as this will wrap things up, I believe, as well here for tonight's broadcast here on GSRC, as we'd like to thank everyone from the Quality Racing Syndicate for organizing this series and contacting GSRC for these broadcasts. We'd also like to say thanks to our software and hardware providers that we use for our broadcast that you can see on your screen now. Also thanks to our musical contributors Eric Elcombe and Casey Lalonde, whose music you can find on the websites listed on your screen now. Definitely some entertaining music and definitely some calming music as well, as the QRS Sports Car Challenge Series will return for round number 3 on December 30th. All your favorite drivers will be traveling to Jefferson County, West Virginia to try and tame the Summit Point Motorsport Park. GSRC will bring you all the action from start to finish. And for more information about the future races, you can see the list on the screen or go to globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can check out past broadcasts as well as see the future schedule. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and on Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. For Dougie Beard, Joe Peak, Sean Ambrose, and Bill Soups On, I'm Justin Prince. Race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.